Hi everyone, I'm back again. And today I'm going to be doing the Synastry chart between Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. I've had a few requests, so I'm going to get started on this. And before I get into it, I just want to let you know that there are a couple of aspects in this chart between them that I don't think were actually in the media or exposed by the public. So I'm going to get started. His Uranus and Mad Hatter conjuncts her North Node. And this is important because whatever conjuncts your North Node from the other person, it'll be the basic theme between you in the relationship. So Uranus conjuncting her North Node. This is a very unstable relationship. And there's a lot of ups and downs and surprises and also so much drama because Uranus is holding hands with Mad Hatter. Now, the degree that Uranus is conjuncting her North Node is 5 degrees and Mad Hatter is at 2 degrees. So that's significant. And also Mad Hatter has to do with craziness and drama and blaming the other person for all of your wild, crazy accusations, but you're actually the one that is perpetrating this whole dynamic. So there's just so much drama and instability. His Psyche, Lucifer, blow, this conjuncts her descendant. And the descendant is a really important angle. So whatever conjuncts your descendant from the other person, these energies will come into play. And in this case, Psyche has to do with soul. Now, Psyche is also holding hands with Lucifer, blow. So this is important and interesting as well because Lucifer has to do with pride and arrogance. So he had this kind of know-it-all sort of attitude and was arrogant. But blow has to do with abuse. So when he drank a lot, he was, I don't know if he was violent, but there was abuse involved. Definitely an abusive drunk and arrogant, and this is conjuncting her descendant. So that's, like I said, that's what he brought into the relationship. Now on her descendant, there's Vulcanus. Whatever conjuncts your descendant in your natal chart, this is what you look for in another partner or accept the dynamics that come into play. And Vulcanus has to do with blow-ups and crazy flare-ups and possible violence. So that is why she put up with all of the abuse that she not only received from Richard Burton, but from other partners of hers as well. Now, his Sedna and Nessus conjuncts her IC. And whatever conjuncts your IC, these energies will come to you and it'll be behind the scenes. So Sedna, extreme betrayal, and Nessus has to do with abuse. And this Nessus asteroid is coinciding with his blow and his Dionysus. Now, his Sedna has to do with extreme betrayal. So this can signify indiscretions, infidelity, and cheating. And this next aspect is really interesting because his Chiron is conjuncting her Lilith at 2 degrees. And this means no sex. I've seen this multiple times before. So this means that in the beginning of the relationship, there could have been a sexual intimate relationship, but over time, that intimacy degrades and there's no sex at all. And this would not surprise me because he was drinking so much, and it's reported that he could drink 2 to 3 bottles of vodka a day. And if you're drinking that much, it's highly doubtful that you could keep an intimate relationship going, if you know what I'm saying. The plumbing is going to break down sooner or later. So that's probably why she cheated on him and he also cheated on her. I mean, he probably thought, well, I can't have this relationship, intimate relationship with Elizabeth, and everything's breaking down with me sexually. You know, maybe he had ED. He would go elsewhere to see if he could get his mojo back. Now, his nemesis conjuncts her ascendant, 0 degrees. And nemesis has to do with betrayal. And also it can mean an enemy-like sort of behavior. Now, his Pholus conjuncts her Astarte. And Astarte has to do with blow-ups and war. I mean, huge, because Pholus conjuncting Astarte, that has the energies of an explosion of that asteroid, which also coincides in the planetary department because his Mercury is squaring her Mars, and that has to do with arguments and blow-ups as well. Her Melpomene conjuncts his Juno. Juno has to do with marriage, and Melpomene has to do with tragedy. So in this marriage, there was a lot of tragic circumstances, arguments, blow-ups, infidelity, and no intimacy. And this orb is at 0 degrees, so that's the tightest orb. Her Atahualpa, Snow, Pholus conjuncts his Venus. So now I'm going to be getting into the addictions, the drinking, the drugs, and also there's more aspects that are coming into play that are starting to form a picture of this whole relationship. Now, her Atahualpa, that has to do traditionally with cocaine, but it's holding hands with Snow, and that also can mean cocaine. However, it also encompasses the energies of opiates, amphetamines, and addictions, heavy addictions as well, and the abuse of drugs. Now, it's holding hands with her Pholus. There's an explosion of this addiction, and she brought this right into the relationship because it's conjuncting his Venus, which is very important. It's a love planet. Her Dejanira and Coco, also another asteroid that has to do with cocaine or opiates or amphetamines. Dejanira has to do with victimhood. So she was a victimhood of drugs, and it's conjuncting his South Node. Now, whatever conjuncts your South Node from the other person, you will accept those energies. It'll be normal to you, or you could be in denial about it, or just accept how it plays out. Which would make sense because he was drinking too much and she was doing a lot of drugs, and this was just a very volatile relationship. So there was an acceptance between the two of them of how this played out. And his South Node is also conjuncting his Zeus, and Zeus, cheating. His Chaos conjuncts her Sun and her Mars. So now we have two personal planets, a luminary, and Mars, the war planet, is conjuncting his Chaos. So again, this just coincides with the rest of the aspects I just explained. Pholus conjuncting Astarte, Mercury squaring Mars, just blow-ups, a drama. His Casanova and Sun and Hypnos, Caputo and Pandora conjuncts her moon, 2 degrees. The moon, very important luminary, and you don't want a lot of negative asteroids holding hands and partying over your moon, because you will feel these energies strongly. So his Casanova is conjuncting his Sun. Sweet talking ladies man. Women swoon over this guy. He had such a presence and charisma, and like a sort of like a buttery voice in a way. And Casanova also conjuncting his Sun, natural born cheater. Also conjuncting his Hypnos, like I said, very hypnotic presence. And Caputo, cheating. Pandora, opening up Pandora's box. Come into the relationship and you're like this Don Juan, sweet talking ladies man, and then you open up Pandora's box and all these evil things emerge that you can't control, and there's cheating involved. And that's all conjuncting her moon, which would make sense to me because this really does as well coincide with the rest of the energies in the chart. His Mars conjuncts her Caputo and Luhai, grim and actor. So now we have Mars bringing fire and power to the energies of her asteroids that are holding hands, which are Caputo. So I think she cheated on him. I think that's been validated somewhere along the line, but she probably had to go somewhere else to find a satisfying sexual relationship, possibly because of his excessive drinking, and there's that Chiron conjuncting Lilith, so no sex. So what else do I have here? This is actually one of the best parts of this relationship. Her Valentine and Vertex conjuncts his North Node, Maniac and Visya. I want to get to the Vertex and Valentine conjuncting his North Node, because Valentine conjuncting the North Node, wonderful. That's a great, it's a wonderful placement. I've experienced this before in my lifetime. The person will bring you a lot of presence, and not that presents are indicative of love, but it really goes along with the Valentine asteroid. They're devoted to you. There's like this devotional sort of love that they feel for you, and they're giving you presence, and it's a very pure energy. And with Vertex there as well, she's like, he got her. They're like two people on the same path in a way, and they get it. They know each other, even though it was not the best sort of energy, but they were both like two peas in a pod in a way. But to me, I think he got the better end of the deal with her Valentine conjuncting his North Node. But on his North Node, he's got Maniac and Visya. Maniac, moody, can be not just moody, but maniacal in a way. And Visya has to do with viciousness. He could be vicious, maniacal, moody, temperamental. And a lot of people will remember him by that, especially the people that worked for him in the industry, because he would show up and he would say, well, I'll work with this guy if I have to, but I'm going to be drinking more than one bottle of vodka because this is going to be really boring to me, and I don't want to have to deal with all these peons. It's basically what he said. So that coincides with the Maniac and the Visya. Now, his Snow, Split, and Geisha conjuncts her South Node. Now, Snow, like I said before, has to do with opiates, amphetamines, but it also has to do with addictions. And Split, he's going to split. And Geisha, he was tired of, now this is conjuncting her South Node. So eventually what happened was he was like, I'm leaving. There's too much addictions going on here. I'm tired of being a slave and waiting on her hand and foot, trying to please her, because that's what he brought into the relationship, because he was an addict as well. And she accepted those energies, but eventually it broke apart because we have Split holding hands with Geisha and Snow. Now, his Iphigenia and Fantasia conjuncts her midheaven. Right out in the open, the midheaven sits at the top of the chart, and everybody will see these energies. And in this case, Iphigenia, subservience, victimhood, and Fantasia, fantasy. So he was a victim of fantasy in this relationship, and he was subservient to the whole dynamic of the craziness and the addictions, and also in the between them in their career, because the midheaven also represents your work and your career. Now, her point of fortune conjuncts his finale, 2 degrees. Point of fortune, it's like a circle with a cross in the middle, and it magnifies whatever it touches, and it's conjuncting her finale. So guess what? No relationship. All of a sudden, it was over. Finale, finito. They did get back together, but the chart continued to play out, and they got married a second time and then divorced again. So that's all I have today, and I hope you enjoyed this interpretation, and I will see you next time. Hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop. Have a nice day.